Hello, Dr. Sean. How are you doing?
Very well. How you going?
Yeah, very well. Hello, everyone out there. Dr. Mark DiPasquale here. Dr. Sean Campbell. We're from Adjusted Chiropractic. We want to wish everyone Happy New Year. Yeah. Hope everyone's had a good break. Their batteries are recharged. If you're back at work, hope the batteries are recharged. If you're not back at work, well, lucky you. Hope you're staying on a beach somewhere. No, it is important, the breaks, isn't it? Dr. Sean, we always talk about, how stress relates to the nervous system, etc. It's I think people have become more in touch with how, through going through all this COVID over the last two years, I think everyone sort of understood how pressured lives were and how good it can be if we're working from home, if we're taking holidays, if we're relaxing, spending time with family and friends. It's put a bit of a perspective in our lifestyles, hasn't it?
Yeah, looking at that balance.
Yeah, it's all about balance, isn't it? So we've got a bit of information we want to talk to everyone about today with regards to vitamin D and the mortality risk in COVID-19. This is some latest research. This came out in September last year, which is fantastic, and it's very important information. Before we do get into that, I do want to mention our back to school. We are getting back to school. So you can see the poster behind me here. These are the points we should be looking at when going back to school for the kids. So, the checkpoints are making sure we're checking the backpack, making sure the screen time is kept in check, posture, chiropractic care, and nutrition for the kids as well. So those 5 aspects, which we are going to push that out in emails and on our Facebook page. And anyone who has questions can ask us about what their child needs to get back to school in a safe way to make sure that their spines are healthy, nervous systems are healthy, and they can deal with all the stresses of school. Sounds cool, doesn't it? You remember high school, don't you, Dr. Sean?
Oh, yes.
A few years ago now, wasn't it?
A little while.
Okay, let's get into this study. So, COVID-19 mortality risk correlates inversely with vitamin D status, and a mortality risk close to 0 could theoretically be achieved at 50 micrograms per mil of vitamin D3. These are the results of a systematic review and meta-analysis. Long title, but in short, Dr. Sean, you want to sort of abbreviate that a little bit?
Yeah, so it's a meta-analysis. So it's taken a bunch of other studies and then evaluated them and compared them and seeing if we can come up with basically what the literature is showing across all of the studies. So it's a summary of what the research shows. So we consider these very highly regarded in science because it's looking not just at one study, but at a whole range of studies out there, and then looking for similarities and differences and looking for the results and seeing how we can apply those results in the real world. So this one, they measured people's vitamin D levels in the blood before they were administered to hospital. So when they first got to hospital with COVID, and they found, the average was around about, I think it was 24 or 25 in the paper.
Mm-hmm. Correct, yes, 25.
Normal, what we consider normal, what we consider healthy is above 50, somewhere close to sort of 75 is where we want to be. That the people being admitted to hospital with severe symptoms had very low vitamin D levels.
Yes. So exactly right. So it says that we need to be taking precautions before we're faced with something, obviously. So we've had 2 years now to understand what COVID is and what viruses are and everything like that. And we have been putting out a few videos, Dr. Sean, on the importance of vitamin D, vitamin C, polyphenols such as OPC3, etc. There are many others around which have been in the literature as well. It's about keeping the immune system strong. So if the immune system is strong, it can deal with a virus much better. And that is exactly what. And you did mention about the meta-analysis of these studies. So this did take in one population study and 7 clinical studies. So they were part of this meta-analysis. So it's quite significant. And it is really also significant, I think, coming up now at this time, because Omicron is the variant which is out and about. And from what we're seeing is, and what we're seeing in the media and the studies as well, is that it is, you can catch it more easily, but the chances of going to hospital are way lower. So this means that if we have high levels of vitamin D, it's pretty much a given that we're going to be safe, even if we are exposed to this virus and we do catch it, and then we start building antibodies and fight it off. Is that the case?
Yeah, basically, they showed in this study that there was almost no people who had vitamin D levels above 50 that were hospitalized. Well,
there was no people who had vitamin D levels above 50 who died. It's actually more significant than that. So it means that, and this is data from all around the world as well, and this is data on other variants like such as Alpha and Delta and all these other variants, which were hospitalizing people in the thousands in other countries as well, who didn't have as harsh lockdowns as we had, or didn't have as good health systems as we had, etc. And this is pretty significant. This is pretty significant type of data. So yeah, vitamin D is hugely, hugely important, and probably very important and probably more important. I think people need to understand it's more important than just saying, oh yeah, I got some sun today, so I've got enough vitamin D. Or I spent the summer down at the beach, so I've got heaps of vitamin D, I'm going to be fine from that point. We don't really know how each individual person synthesizes vitamin D in the skin. Some make more of it, some make less of it. But definitely getting it in, getting it in as a supplement, we know that it's going to get in there, and it's going to create results such as this. So I'm taking vitamin D every day. I'm not chancing it. Not because I'm afraid of COVID. I've actually had COVID, and so have you, Dr. Sean. And I pretty much put down my recovery, and I wouldn't say it was minor when I actually did contract COVID, but it was a very short time span, much shorter than a lot of other people have actually gone through. And I do put that down to having high levels of vitamin D, vitamin C, huge amounts of OPC3. Diet is good, rest, got plenty of rest. I think it made a big, big difference, and in the recovery too.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and also we have seen those studies as well about the recovery in the weeks to months after, with the fibrosis in the lungs, the blood clots, those sorts of things improving with various supplements too. So yeah, it's very, very important. One thing I did think about that we were actually going to speak about is, so this study did evaluate those who were going into hospital, but I did actually want to go over the conclusion of the study. So the conclusion of the study, the data sets did provide strong evidence that low vitamin D is a predicator rather than just a side effect of the infection. So basically means that it was a predetermining part of the infection, not just something that happens when one has the infection. And in quotes in the summary is, we recommend raising serum levels of vitamin D to above 50 micrograms per mil to prevent new outbreaks due to escape mutations or decreased antibody activity. And this is a summary from a paper that is no shorter than 20 pages long. So that's how long it took to bring that meta-analysis in. So pretty significant stuff, Dr. Sean.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, and we've known for a long time the benefits of vitamin D and how it affects the immune system, and this is just more evidence of that.
That's right. Oh, that's what I was also wanting to speak to you about. Vitamin D is called a vitamin, but it's not actually a vitamin. It's actually a hormone. Do you want to actually just explain that a bit for us?
Yeah, the way in which vitamin D works in the body, it works more like a hormone. So has effects on receptors, and yeah, that it's one of those points that's kind of been argued for a while now, that it's not actually a vitamin, it's a hormone.
Yeah. So it was probably not classified correctly many years ago, and it should have been called something else. But anyway, it is what it is. It doesn't really matter. This is why we speak out on this channel to advise people of the things that are important in health, and that can be easily done as well. All right, so that's that study for this week. Any final thoughts, Dr. Sean?
Yeah, so the one thing I'll say, if we have vitamin D levels that are already in the appropriate ranges, typically we'd take a dose which is 1,000 international units per day. So that's the standard dose. If you were to go pick up vitamin D from the chemist, it's 1,000. That's what's in our multivitamin that we have here. It's 1,000 units per serve. So that's 1,000 units per day. If you are low though, it would be recommended that you increase that dosage, which is why we also have the 5,000 per serve vitamin D here as well. So for people who are low, you use that for a couple of weeks to a month, get your bloods tested again, check your levels. Once they get back to normal, then you can go back to the 1,000 units a day maintenance dose. Yeah, perfect. Well said. I think 5,000 international units over a long, long period of time will be too much. Yeah. It'll just accumulate in the body, and it's not really needed, is it? That's perfect. Thank you very much for your time, Dr. Sean, today. Great information. Anyone out there who has any questions about this research article, we will leave a link below so you can click on it. You can have a read of it yourself if you do like to. Any questions about the article itself, please come to me, come to Dr. Sean or any of our team here at Adjusted Chiropractic. Any questions about anything health-wise, not related to what we've spoken about today, we're also available as well. Thanks, Dr. Sean, for your time. See you, everybody. Have a great week. We'll see you next time. See you guys. Bye.